dimes in practice drills, the number one defense can't stop them. People take notice of that, and the more that the players see it, they're gonna. Then the comments start happening over the lunch table. They start happening throughout the building, and that's when the pressure really will get severe.
Shed, you mentioned, what do they have next year in the draft?
2 first-round draft picks. Their own pick and Jacksonville's pick.
It's got to play into it.
When Jason Kelce speaks, the NFL usually perks up like he's reading commandments off stone tablets. But this time, he didn't just drop an opinion. He fired off a full-on warning flare aimed right at Cleveland, and it blew up bigger than a busted keg at a tailgate. Instead of brushing it off, the Browns owner went into meltdown mode. Not the calm, here's a press release kind of meltdown, but the full angry uncle flipping the table at Thanksgiving vibe. And just like that, we've got ourselves a football feud simmering hotter than ribs on a grill outside the dog pound. Kelce, the man built like a Viking statue dipped in beard oil, has now transformed from Super Bowl champ to Cleveland's unofficial prophet of doom. And he didn't whisper it. He announced it like a storm siren over Lake Erie. The Browns thought their worst nightmare this year would just be trying to explain Deshaun Watson's contract without giggling nervously. But nope. Kelce rode in like Gandalf in shoulder pads, arms waving, telling the city, danger's coming.
Given what we saw yesterday with Shedeur Sanders, somebody on the Cleveland Browns is 100% getting fired, probably by the end of this year. The person who's probably going to end up getting fired is Kevin Stefanski, because I know that he didn't want Shedeur Sanders on the team. It was Andrew Berry who made that pick. You can't really go against your GM. Bad things happen in this situation. But Shedeur Sanders is not without fault for what we saw yesterday. This is the play that we saw yesterday that has the internet just exploding, where Shedeur Sanders took like a 24-yard sack. Half of the internet is saying that this is all Kevin Stefanski's fault.
Now, if this were any other fan base, people would laugh, roll their eyes, and get back to arguing over who makes the best chili. But this is Cleveland, a place that treats every warning like the sky itself is collapsing. These fans have lived through fumbles so tragic, they're still whispered about in bars. Quarterbacks who didn't even outlast a TikTok trend, and misery so consistent it could make therapists hand out loyalty cards for group sessions. So when Kelce lit the flare and basically declared, Cleveland, you're doomed, the city didn't sit quiet, and neither did the owner. Instead of responding with reason, strategy, or even a fake smile, he snapped back with pure fury, the kind of chest-beating rage that screams, how dare anyone point out the obvious about our broken squad? And just like that, one warning from Kelce turned into a public brawl that's about to shake the dog pound to its core. Because that's the Browns in a nutshell. Chaos wrapped in a helmet.
People what they want.
For sure. I mean, listen, what do I want to watch? I want to watch Shedeur Sanders.
Who doesn't want to watch that? The world
Listen.
wants to see him go out there and not only play but have success. At this point, guys are rooting for him. This isn't against anything against Dylan. This isn't anything against Joe. I'm just saying the excitement is there for him to go out there. He's going to put eyes on the screen. He is going to bring people to the game. It is what it is, man. I would love to see it, man.
You don't need spreadsheets or analytics to see it. All you got to do is glance at their sideline. One coach looks like he's questioning every decision that led him to Cleveland. Another is chewing gum so hard you'd think it owes him rent money. And the quarterback, he's staring into the void like he just realized exactly which franchise he signed his soul over to. But Jason Kelce isn't just some loudmouth. He's the older half of America's favorite sibling rivalry, a Super Bowl warrior turned podcast fire breather. This is the guy who went from pancaking defensive tackles into the turf to blasting rants about tight ends that go viral. When Kelce talks, the NFL actually pays attention. Well, everywhere, except Cleveland, where listening is treated like optional homework you already know you're failing, instead of taking even 2 seconds to say, maybe he's got a point.
Help but wonder if everything is a test when it comes to Shedeur and the Browns. Not just how are you with your teammates, the playbook, all of that, but, they were very upset about the speeding tickets. Obviously, that was a negative. Everything, you're being judged by every little thing, and the fact that he took himself out of practice because his arm is sore. Again, I'm not questioning how hurt he is, but if you're not injured and you do take yourself out, is he going to be judged on that?
The Browns owner hit the panic button and had a full-blown emotional meltdown in public. And let's be honest, this is not exactly a team famous for rejecting good advice and magically thriving. Kelce wasn't insulting them, he was doing them a favor, practically giving a PSA, hey Cleveland, how about not driving headfirst into the ditch again this season? But gratitude, forget it. The owner responded with the sports equivalent of throwing a tantrum in Walmart while the cameras are rolling. You could practically hear the steam whistle blasting off his head. Outrage so fiery, it screamed, "We've been mediocre for decades, and we'll stay mediocre on our terms." Browns fans have already lived through coaches, quarterbacks, and coordinators getting swapped out like speed dating gone wrong. Yet the moment someone dares to state the obvious, trouble is already brewing, and Cleveland's acting like it's breaking news. They're acting like Jason Kelce insulted the entire city's honor. But let's be real. Cleveland has been warned 1,000 times before, by their own history.
We've seen that miserable game by the Cleveland Browns. So they throw Joe Flacco in there, and I like Joe Flacco. He did good, but they gave him the resource of all the first-team guys. Then they throw Dylan Gabriel in there with first teams and second teams. So Dylan always is getting protected. The same thing again, they gave this scrub max protection on every play. Yeah, he completed some passes, but let's talk about his mistakes. He's still inconsistent with his throws, but he at least had max protection.
Every season kicks off with hope so thick you could butter bread with it, and every season ends with the same crash and burn deja vu. It's like when your cousin tells you your fantasy draft was trash, you already knew it, but hearing it out loud still makes you furious. Here's the wild twist. Kelce doesn't even need this drama. The man's retired. He's not suiting up, he's not game planning against the Browns, and he gains nothing from stirring this pot. He's literally chilling on the sidelines, sipping a drink, and casually tossing matches into Cleveland's gas tank just to watch the sparks fly.
They were not going to start Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders in week 1. Kenny Pickett had a hamstring injury. It makes it easy to go with Joe Flacco. And the question isn't and wasn't going to be who's the starter in Cleveland. The question is who's going to be the backup in Cleveland. Who's going to be the number 2 quarterback when they open the season against these Bengals.
And that's exactly why the Browns owner's meltdown is comedy gold. He's basically arguing with a retired legend who has 0 to lose and all the time in the world to drop bombs. Meanwhile, the fan base is splitting right down the middle. Half of them nodding like, well, he's not wrong, and the other half screaming, don't you dare disrespect our sacred mediocrity, because let's face it, being a Browns fan is like belonging to a chaotic religion. You pray for miracles, you suffer endlessly, and somehow you keep dragging yourself to church every Sunday. Only the altar is a football field. If the owner truly wanted to clap back, all he had to do was let the teams play, do the talking. That's the cruel punchline.
Also, can't blame anybody who says, I don't necessarily trust this coaching staff to develop a quarterback or to evaluate the quarterback position. They have made some really oddball decisions at this position over the last several years, and I don't blame anybody for questioning, do these guys actually know what they're doing?
I don't think that's unfair at all. The thing I would say is that they're desperate.
Instead of silencing the noise with wins, the Browns stay so obsessed with being offended that they keep the circus alive themselves. And once again, Cleveland forgets the golden rule. The loudest way to shut people up is to actually win. The only scoreboard that matters is winning games, period. Jason Kelce might have just stirred the pot, but the Browns owner, he upended the whole spice rack into the cauldron and turned it into a spectacle the NFL can't stop watching. This feud isn't just football beef anymore. It's premium cable drama dressed up in shoulder pads. Because here's the truth, football feeds off chaos and storylines, and Cleveland just delivered a plot so messy, so petty, and so entertaining, you have to watch. Kelce didn't just warn the Browns, he exposed them. And the owner's furious snapback, that wasn't strength, that was a confession caught on a hot mic. The meltdown didn't stop at one angry response. Oh no, that was just Act 1 of Cleveland's never-ending tragicomedy. Because when Jason Kelce drops a warning shot, you don't just get mad, you spiral.
For him to get on the field earlier than where I see it at this point has to be with if one of the veteran quarterbacks during the Eagles and the Panthers just looked bad, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, well, let's see what we can do with this, and maybe he might earn the reps. And then the second big thing is he has to light it up when it comes to the preseason games. I told you, the dinking and dunking, where you at the pecking order at this point, that ain't gonna get it done. You have to turn eyeballs. You have to make plays.
And spiral is exactly what the Browns front office did. Harder than a quarterback backpedaling on 4th and 27 with no plan. Let's not forget, these are the same fans who once celebrated a season of losing like it was a parade. Not even Kelce's fire alarm warning could top that level of comedy gold. So when the owner clapped back with fiery words, it didn't intimidate anyone. It looked like a man waving a sparkler and pretending it was a nuclear warhead. Here's where it gets juicier. By yelling so loud, the Browns basically proved Kelce right. It's like someone warns you your basement might flood, and instead of checking for leaks, you scream at them for mentioning water. That's Cleveland Logic 101. Don't fix the mess, just scream at the messenger until the crowd forgets the truth. And the wildest part? Kelce wasn't even aiming for drama. The man's retired. He's in his podcast era, his dad life era, his sip a cold beer on national TV and still trend worldwide era. He's got nothing to lose and no defensive ends to dodge anymore, which makes every word hit twice as hard. For Cleveland to treat Kelce's casual warning like it was some nuclear declaration of war? Wild. The Browns owner didn't even need to say a word. Silence would have been golden. Silence would have been classy. Silence would have made Kelce's words fade into the background.
40 years old. Let me tell you something. The only person I've seen ball after 40 is Tom Brady. At the end of the day, when you look at this, think about this. The Baltimore Ravens decided almost a decade ago he was washed. What are you talking about? They own a second quarterback. No disrespect, but Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders cannot possibly be as worse as what Joe Flacco is at this point. And guess what? Have a day, Cleveland Browns. Do yourself a favor. You already went with the youth movement. Turns out that half the players, the best players on your team, are rookies and young guys.
But nope. Instead, we got fireworks. And if there's one thing the NFL never turns down, it's fireworks. Now the media gets to loop highlight reels of Kelce's epic beard side by side with Cleveland's meltdown, while talk shows gorge themselves on the drama for weeks. Philly fans are probably watching with popcorn in hand, while Steelers fans are doubled over laughing their way into next season. Only Cleveland could take a throwaway comment and turn it into a full-blown soap opera. And here's the kicker. The NFL lives off soap operas. Conflict is its oxygen, its bread and butter, its secret sauce. Because while everyone's busy arguing, no one's noticing the real issue, Cleveland still has to actually play football. No rant, no soundbite, no angry comeback is going to stop a pass rush or keep Lamar Jackson from slicing them up like a highlight reel. But sure, let's waste valuable time proving Jason Kelce wrong with spicy quotes instead of stacking touchdowns. Genius strategy, right? And here's where the psychology makes it even juicier. Jason isn't just Travis Kelce's big brother. He's tied to America's favorite pop culture circus, the one with Taylor Swift's name plastered on every headline. The Kelce family has been trending for over a year, living rent-free on billboards, timelines, and gossip columns.
If you're a football fan, we clearly know what you did. We clearly know that the plays that you gave for Dylan Gabriel, throwing the check down underneath to make him look good. Same plays for Flacco. Then you throw Shedeur in the game with a tight end whose name ain't even on the roster, and some other players. And then you have them run long routes.
So when Jason drops shade on Cleveland, it instantly jumps from a football headline to mainstream gossip. And by snapping back like this, the Browns owner didn't just argue with the retired center, he put himself on the gossip page too. Now Cleveland looks defensive, insecure, and still totally unproven, like the kid swearing, "I wasn't crying." while wiping away tears in front of the whole class. Even with his eyes red and his voice cracking, everyone can see the truth. The louder Cleveland snaps, the clearer it gets that Jason Kelce hit a nerve. And that's the beauty of this whole saga. It's self-inflicted comedy. Kelce didn't destroy the Browns. The Browns destroyed themselves by overreacting in public like a reality show meltdown. Now let's zoom out for a second. Cleveland isn't just a football team, they're a football experiment that keeps blowing up in the lab. Every time they inch close to relevance, something collapses in spectacular fashion. A last-second fumble, a missed field goal, a quarterback injury that derails the season. It's less of a franchise and more of a sitcom with way too many seasons and no finale in sight. Kelce pointing this out wasn't some groundbreaking revelation. It was obvious, painfully obvious. But the owner's furious denial, that's what turned it into a national spectacle. Instead of brushing it off, he turned the spotlight on himself and basically screamed, "Yes, this is our problem." And the timing couldn't be worse. The season's about to kick off. The NFL is sizing up which teams look ready, which ones look shaky, and which ones are delusional. And right now, Cleveland is wearing that delusional label like a name tag. The cracks aren't just showing, they're widening, and everyone can see the water rushing through. So what's next? Oh, you already know. Another Browns collapse, and this time the whole league is watching with popcorn. Every single loss this season is going to play out with Jason Kelce's warning flashing across the screen like a curse. Every interception, every whiffed block, every boneheaded mistake will be replayed with the narrative that Cleveland had been warned and flat out refused to listen. And when that happens, the owner's meltdown will be the cherry on top, the perfect "we told you so" moment for the entire football world. The internet is already locked and loaded. Receipts will get pulled, old clips will resurface, and social media will do what it does best: laugh Cleveland straight into oblivion. That's the Browns in a nutshell. Just when they could have kept their heads down, stayed quiet, and let winning speak for itself, they opened their mouths and confirmed every stereotype people have about them. Jason Kelce didn't just give a warning. He handed Cleveland a giant spotlight. And instead of stepping aside, they strutted right into the beam and tripped over their shoelaces for everyone to see. The funniest part, Kelce has probably already forgotten he even said it. Meanwhile, the Browns are in boardrooms.
Sanders is expected to start for the Cleveland Browns.
How about that?
Friday night in their preseason opener.
I'd be excited, obviously, if I'm a Browns fan. Like the fact that you get to see him, like that's fun. Like if you're a fan of that team, that's fun that you get to see this guy that is this huge polarizing figure, especially coming out of this NFL draft. I wonder if it's kind of a disservice to him, though.
How?
Because he's been the fourth string quarterback. And you're just kind of throwing him in there. I don't know.
If I'm the fourth string quarterback and I get named the starter, I want it. How do you move up the depth chart?
That's true.
Drafting statements, holding crisis talks, and acting like his words were carved into stone tablets on Mount Sinai. And that's the thing about dysfunction. When somebody shines a light on it, the insecure reaction is to scream at the spotlight instead of fixing the mess. And that's exactly what the Browns owner did. He didn't silence the critics, he confirmed them, loud and clear. And the beauty, or the tragedy, depending how you see it, is in the inevitability. Every blown coverage, every third and long disaster, every boneheaded play call will echo Kelce's warning louder than anything he actually said. Cleveland doesn't even have to lose big. The drama will make even the small stumbles feel monumental. Jason Kelce lit the fuse, but Cleveland is the one keeping the fireworks show alive. And now every camera, every podcast, every hot take show is circling like vultures, waiting for the Browns to make their next mistake. Because here's the truth, this isn't just about one warning anymore. It's about an entire franchise showing the world exactly how fragile they are under pressure. Think about it. A retired center with nothing to gain casually says, "Trouble's coming." And instead of brushing it off, the Browns owner turned it into the headline of the season. That's not leadership. That's insecurity on full display.
Sanders in there with the lowest cab drivers you couldn't even get on 5th Street. And I'm pissed off, bro, because the play calling was abysmal. Look, even if you don't like Shedeur didn't even get a chance to be trash. even if you think Shedeur is garbage, he didn't even get a chance to be garbage. That's how awful the offensive line was. Kevin Stefanski still doesn't want to give Shedeur second strings and first strings reps. Why is that? Now, what's more horrible about this game was it was to the point on every single snap.
And in the NFL, insecurity spreads faster than injuries. Coaches feel it, players feel it, and fans start smelling blood before kickoff even arrives. Now the Browns aren't just fighting their opponents, they're fighting their own shadow. Every missed throw will feel heavier. Every blown assignment will carry that ghost of Kelce's words, haunting them like a curse they can't escape. And when the cameras zoom in on frustrated faces and sideline chaos, the clip is already ready to go viral, with Kelce's warning echoing in the background. The irony? Kelce is probably back home right now, grilling burgers, tossing his kids in the pool, living stress-free. Meanwhile, Cleveland is spinning in circles, trapped in their own storm, turning a casual comment into the defining storyline of their season. That's the Browns way. When faced with the choice between proving people wrong or proving people right, they always seem to pick the latter. And here's the part that stings the most. Jason Kelce doesn't have to say another word. His warning is now bigger than him, living rent-free in Cleveland's head and growing louder with every stumble on the field. And that's the real plot twist. Jason Kelce doesn't even have to be part of the story anymore. His words have already been branded onto Cleveland's season like a scarlet letter, and no matter how loud the Browns owner screams, the warning will always echo louder. Every stumble, every ugly loss, every sideline meltdown will drag those words back into the spotlight, reminding everyone that this team had the chance to shut up the critics and chose chaos instead. This isn't just football anymore. This is theater. The Browns front office turned themselves into the stars of a soap opera nobody asked for, but everybody will watch. And make no mistake, the NFL is licking its chops. Storylines like this sell. They fuel headlines. They keep the cameras locked on Cleveland, whether they win or lose.
Couple days, 3 days until roster cutdowns. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you belong here on this team?
Obviously, I think overall as a player, I feel like I put in the work. I feel like everything I do, I try to do it to my best, and that's all I ask for. So I feel like everybody feels like they should be on the team. And if you ask anybody on the team, would they feel like they belong, in their own eyes. So I feel like I do, but I'm my own player. I think about myself in a high regard.
Meanwhile, Kelce is untouchable, retired, respected, and free to stir the pot whenever he feels like it. He's in his dad life, podcasting, celebrity guest on TV era, and he still manages to rattle $1 billion franchise with one comment. That's power, and Cleveland just showed the world how easy it is to get under their skin. So here's the bottom line. The Browns thought they were clapping back, but all they did was confirm the stereotype everyone already believed. Now they're walking into the season not just with pressure, but with Jason Kelce's words tattooed across their reputation. And that's why this saga is going to follow them week after week, whether they like it or not. Now tell me what you think. Did Jason Kelce really bury Cleveland with one casual comment, or did the Browns bury themselves with their meltdown? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with your friends. I'll catch you on the next one. And when the Browns stumble, and history says they will, that owner's furious snapback is going to age worse than a carton of milk left out in the August sun. That's the tragedy and comedy rolled into one. Jason Kelce casually tossed out a warning like it was nothing, and Cleveland's owner combusted like a 4th of July firework for the whole NFL to see. Now the entire league is watching in amusement, shaking their heads, because this is peak Cleveland, swinging at shadows while the real storm brews right there on the field. And when the season delivers its inevitable heartbreak, fans won't just remember the losses, they'll remember the meltdown. They'll remember that they were warned, not by a rival coach, not by a bitter fan, but by Jason Kelce of all people. His words will echo louder than any press release, any denial, and any excuse Cleveland tries to spin. So now I want to hear from you. Did Jason Kelce just predict the Browns' downfall, or did the owner write his own punchline? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, share this with your crew, and I'll see you on the next one.